top comms priority for the week is finishing up the Gitcoin alpha round, which closes today, and making sure we've everything done for that. But I think we're pretty much there, as well as working on some of the homepage copy. That's a big priority for myself this week. And otherwise ensuring that we've got things in action for upcoming events like ETH Denver. Intention for the call is to facilitate and go through the agenda, and no distractions really, just getting over a cold still, so my head's a little foggy, so I'm a little bit slow, feeling behind, but I think everything's in order. So that's me. I'll go ahead and pass it to Ashley.
Thanks, Corey. Yeah. Top comms priority this week, just to stay sync with the mod and keep plugging away at this overhaul on autopilot, the email stuff. I think that's my biggest thing for comms this week. And my intention for the call, to sync up and to stream the call, just stay in the loop. My distractions are I'll probably be doing some stuff in the background, but I'm here. Just holler, and I will pass it to Ahmad.
Thanks, Ashley. My intentions for this call are to sync up with everybody and see if there's anything that I can help out with. I know there's a few things that are open that we're working on. I do have some bandwidth this week, so I may be able to take on a few things. In terms of the call, my intentions are to go over some of the SEO things that I put here in the agenda. And I think there's a few things with emails as well. And I have a bit of a cold as well, so my voice is almost gone. I'm distracted by that. And I'll pass it to Suga.
Hey, Ahmad, I didn't quite get what your priority was for this week, because you mentioned the call a couple times, but do you mean this week?
SEO, emails, overhaul, and seeing if there's anything else I can take on if there's anything that needs my support.
Okay, feel better.
Thanks.
Hey, everybody. I'm super excited to be here today because I managed to get my Gitcoin passport last night to donate, and it was quite complicated. There were a lot of bugs, a lot of obstacles, and I had success, and I'm still kind of riding on that cloud right now. I'm here today to take on some new responsibilities. So that's probably covers both of the first two questions, what I'm doing here and what my comms commitments are this week. So I definitely have availability. Otherwise I have my, I just got some other big nebulous projects that are wrapping up. A common stack case study thing that I'm doing, but apart from that kind of thing, I can do some other stuff. And last thing is distractions are Tuesday at the community center type distractions. And I'll pass to Lauren.
Thanks, Suga. I'm feeling good. My intentions for the call are to talk. There's a few housekeeping kinds of things that I want to talk about that are on the agenda regarding kind of double checking things before they go out and blah, blah, blah. And my priority for the week is just managing all the tweets that we have to put out. And I'm also just very focused in wanting to put out this Gitcoin Giveth forum post thing that I haven't seemed to have time to do until now, or not even now. I don't even have time now, but I'm trying to do that. And I just want to support Corey on getting that done as well. So I'm not terribly distracted except by all the other work that I'm doing, and I will pass it to Claire.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Lauren. My focus for comms this week is mainly on getting the message and outreach for the project survey done and put some timelines around it now that the Gitcoin thing is over. A few more things to finish off with the testing of content planning apps and try and finalize some kind of reviewer approver process for it, because the free trial on one app is coming to an end at the end of the week. And other than that, my intention for the call is just to get synced up and talk about these few things, and I have no distractions. And I am passing to...
Santi?
Everybody go. Santi. You weren't in my screen.
Thank you. GM everyone, I'm just here for listening and catch up, and no distractions. I'll pass it to Franco.
Thank you, Santi. Top comms priority this week is working on updating the Giveth talks. Intention for the call is just catching up, see if there's anywhere where I can help. And distractions is that I'm working and doing a pull request right now, so it's my distraction. And I'll pass it to Almond.
Thank you, Franco. Top priority this week would be to close the Gitcoin grants and to finish answering and replying to all the Gitcoin related tweets, and to have ready the comms, schedule everything for the GM this Friday. And my intention for the call is to sync up and listen to everything that's happening at the comms working group, and no distractions. And I'll pass it to Mitch.
Thanks, Almin. Yeah, I want to listen into what you're all talking about. I do have a small question about the project survey that we talked about yesterday. And willing to take on some stuff if there's a need for it. And let's see who we got here. Maybe, did we get everybody, Corey?
Kotabe?
Yeah, I'm the last one. Damn, everyone. So my top priority for this week is, I have a lot of DMs from the people that I've been saying, hey, donate to Giveth. So I need to close those conversations and record the first Aprendamos Wi-Fi podcast in Spanish. Those will be my top priority. And I have no distractions. I'm having some breakfast. That's it.
Lost your audio a bit along the way, kind of came in and out, but I heard breakfast.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, intentions, just think up.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll take it off you, Kotabe, since I'm the last one. My comms update is really just pushing really hard on Alpha Round outreach all day this last day. And that is also my distraction because I'm getting some people coming back, which is a great thing, but just trying to respond to that as it's getting very close to the end of my day. Now back to you, Corey.
Thanks. I think we got everybody here. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, nice. Thank you for that. So we've got a couple of things on the agenda today. Some of them are just actually some points, like some brainstorming points and some general, cleaning house topics like Lauren mentioned. And then, a couple other things to talk about collaboratively, actually. So I think we've got a nice agenda for today. The first thing, as we all know, I hope, is that today is the last day of the Gitcoin Alpha round. It ends at midnight UTC. Just putting that out as a PSA in case anyone was not aware. So we've got this one last day to push out outreach messaging, encourage anyone on Twitter, link to our tweet in replies. If you see people posting about the grant, that's something we can do collaboratively as a team through this last day in that final push. I would assume there's still a lot of people that will be on Gitcoin today donating. So it is a great time to, reference that tweet to people and send out DMs. Any questions around the Gitcoin Alpha round from a comms perspective? Just wanted to check since we've got, another 8 hours left. Okay, cool. Well, say that again.
I just posted our today's tweet on the grant if people could retweet it.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
I posted the link in the chat as well.
This one, final count. Okay, nice. I'm going to retweet that right now. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Yep, it's the last day, so I guess there's going to be a lot of activity. But go ahead and smash the like button, smash the retweet button. Awesome. And this is also a really great thread to keep linking to with a breakdown of the grant as a not so short TLDR, but all on Twitter. So, yeah. Cool. And so moving on from that, and also I just actually want to say great job to everybody for the prepping. I know it was like a lot. It was quite a push actually last minute. We tried to prep in advance, but it kind of came down to the wire with Gitcoin themselves. So just wanted to say thank you for everyone banding together, like getting emails written hyper fast and getting tweets written and doing this outreach. I just feel like we've all been like really coming together the last 2 weeks on it. And I'm really excited for the results. A little nervous too, but I think, I think we did our absolute best and I think we're in a pretty good position. So yeah. Actually, to that point, does anyone know how we get the results, or is that also like or when? I mean, is that also a question mark at the moment? I thought maybe Mitch or Kotabe or
no. They have to review for Sybil attacks and kind of like manually go through the data. So even Gitcoin probably doesn't know when they'll know. Okay.
All right. So then we continue the business as usual and keep our fingers crossed. But yeah, so that's still a major focus for today. But after today, when that's closed, I was kind of looking at this, like what should be the next things that we focus on immediately. So there's a couple things like I want to talk about in a little bit regarding like an East Denver landing page, and we have the project owner survey coming up. But before that, there was a couple of topics that would make a lot of sense to talk about in a group in this call. And maybe to start with the first one, I wasn't sure how to title this, but for now kind of wrote it as like Giveth voice and language for copywriting. This kind of emerged because, there's been some, in the past, I think we've talked a bit about language do's and don'ts when writing copy for Giveth. And this kind of, I was reminded of this the other day. I think Claire, I was like reviewing a post or something, and there was a word that we were using or that was in the copy regarding like incentives. And I just remembered when I was joining Giveth that there was, like Lauren was always kind of also iterating, like in many cases we want to use the term rewards instead of like rewarding instead of incentivizing. And, I think there's other topics or there's other like terminology that we could discuss around this, but we thought maybe it would be a good idea to have a quick, like concerted brainstorm for like 10 to 15 minutes tops, like 10 minutes tops between the group on like alignment around language use in copywriting for Giveth. Because I don't know if that's like commonly known across, we've had like new contributors come in, but also just in general, it's not something we've talked about much, at least in my time here. So I did create like just a blank Google Doc that I can take notes in, but thought it might be a really good exercise to talk a little bit about about like the language do's and don'ts. And my one example would be at the moment, like trying to use the term rewarding instead of incentivizing, using rewards instead of incentives when we're writing for public content. I don't know, Lauren, if you have anything to add to that, because I've gotten most of that information from you in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really interesting to just have everybody sort of like jump in the doc and start sort of jotting down their ideas, and we can just take like a couple of minutes and just like, okay, think about like, what do you think when you write about Giveth, or what did you learn? It's like, okay, we capitalize building the future of giving, but then we try not to over capitalize because that's a negative tendency, or like all these different kinds of things that come up in the review process when writing blogs and tweets and all these things. It can be Twitter specific, it can be Medium specific. And the idea is just to kind of like brain dump in here as a team. And then we can see if we're like actually agreeing, or if we all thought the same things, or if there's any things that we disagree on. So I posted the link of the Google Doc in the chat here, and I think it would be really cool if we could just like jump in there and then take a couple minutes to talk about it.
Or feel free to talk here, and I'm happy to write down notes. The idea is really like alignments.
Yeah, for example, like, do we say we or do we say giveth? I don't know, maybe that's too specific, but it seems like sometimes that's something that comes up, like, well, are we giveth, or is giveth something that we're talking about?
Like third person versus first person when we write. Yeah, it's a good question, because I've fluctuated between those two many times.
And I think there's different instances where we use both. Maybe I'll turn off my video because I have to hold my phone really close to my face. I was trying to be more sociable, but
well, it's lovely to see your face, but also
too close up.
not if you're going to drop your phone. Yeah. Curious if there's more words we would avoid and alternatives to that. If anyone has input there. Because I think that's really helpful.
Yeah. I probably have a bunch of things right in the back of my head that I can come back to once you know how when you put your head on the pillow at night, suddenly all these great ideas pop up. So I'll add to that doc.
Okay, cool.
I mean, one simple thing so this is also from the same topic, but a tiny bit different of an angle. One of my interests is to help the comms language be a bit more professional. And I'm sorry if that's not quite the right word, but, maybe fewer exclamation points, for example, like a little bit, upping our game a little, not serious, but less exclamation points, a little bit fewer. That's
That's something that I always do. I always include a lot of exclamation points.
Yeah, and they're great.
I feel attacked.
They're great, but
I'm just kidding.
sometimes you lose the energy if every single sentence has an exclamation. But I get it. I mean, they're great.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's more like, what is the voice that we're going for? Is it like fun or serious or
I think, yeah, and this is the thing. It's like personal, like that's why it's like it's good to align because everyone has their own personal preference. Some people write with a lot of exclamation marks and that's their voice. And then, you know, I personally write with a lot less and that's my voice. But at the end of the day, we want a cohesive Giveth voice, right? And I think maybe in the past it was a lot more emojis and exclamation marks, but we had this conversation over the last, you know, like we had it occasionally over the last couple of months where we were talking about changing this voice now in the bear market to position ourselves a little bit more as like a leader, like an elder, you know, like a little bit more toned down, a little bit more serious. And also it's not just kind of maybe more periods instead of exclamation points. It's also maybe less focusing on rewards and focusing more on the bigger mission, right? So it's like like what we're actually writing about, and then also like how we're projecting it.
Yeah. So I think we have kind of like moved into the space of using a lot more like emojis or like making things more fun. And I think that like everybody on the team has kind of like their own level of enthusiasm that they want to create with, which is like totally fair. I personally don't like using too many emojis. I feel like it kind of like distracts some things, and sometimes it's fun in tweets to make them colorful, but then it's like there's a balance of like not going too far into it. So I do think that like that we should like try to be like professional and like at least direct and concise, but still the vibe of Giveth is this kind of like radical anarchy, changing the world, high-spirited thing. And a lot of our contributors are also just like young and like energetic people. So I think that there's like a balance to be achieved, like not just like going like so like a teenager with too many hearts all over the place, but like still with this like general positive tone. I think another really like key thing to keep in mind with Giveth is like it's like we're trying to change the world in a good way. We're trying to empower impact projects. So it's like the positive spin and note, I think, is like a key point of the Giveth voice as well. It's not like doom and gloom or like even just like so only technical, but it's kind of like, here, we're using tech to make the world better. Isn't that great? This sort of like positive high note, like even when it's the bear market, it's like, it may be the bear market, but we're not stopping, you know, like this kind of inspiring, optimistic feel, I think is another point. When I first started working with Giveth and I started taking over the Twitter, Chris, who was running comms before me, had like made a Twitter doc that even in the Twitter doc, it was like, the Giveth Twitter does not use emojis. And I was like, okay. And so I was like, okay, so for the first little while, I like almost used no emojis, but then I like using emojis a little bit sometimes. So I like slipped them in, but it's just interesting to give you guys that background as well. It was like, the Giveth Twitter does not use emojis. And like when you add emojis now, we're like, maybe we're using too many emojis.
Yeah, I think actually the perception of Giveth now is use emojis always. And so it's kind of funny to hear that background because now it seems to be taken as like the opposite. And we're also talking about now toning it down during the bear market. So maybe it's helpful to create a little bit of like, not a set in stone rule, but that's why I added here, like, let's keep it to a maximum, like even, you know, 2 maximum, if that's like a longer tweet, like, I think maybe that's a good number. And like, you know, and I think it can be less. So yeah, I don't know what you think about that, but maybe that helps to make it more of a guideline.
Yeah, I don't know that there needs to be a hard and fast number because you never know. But yeah, maybe
Yeah, I think I really like using emojis in tweets instead of bullet points because it creates like a good visual structure to the tweets instead of like a dash, which takes just as much space and is sort of less descriptive. So it's like if you're making a bullet list of like 5 bullets, maybe use 5 emojis. But if you're just writing sentences, maybe 5 emojis is too many emojis.
Yeah, good point. I noticed, I think Ahmad and I do that. And I'm sure other folks are doing that too. But like when Ahmad does the newsletter and when I do those longer ones, kind of use the emojis for your bullet points. I really like that. And I spend time picking the really right ones, probably too much time.
Yeah. So, and then just watching the time. So I think this is really good to throw some things in here and just really, really quick, because I think this is also really important again, is like, is there any language we should really be actively avoiding when writing content for Giveth? Is there any like actual don'ts to be aware of? Someone here wrote altruism. Is that something that we don't use?
The altruism thing is interesting because altruism is like actually one of our values. So it's like our original values are decentralization, altruism, and community. And they still are. And if you look at our values page, they're broken up that way. It's like decentralization, and then there's bullet points under like what that means, and altruism and what that means. But I think like there was a conversation around altruism and like, not just like giving and expecting absolutely nothing in return. It's like we want to create a world where we don't just like exploit altruism in order to create value for society. So I'm not sure that it's like a direct, I wouldn't say that like you should never say the word altruism or never talk about altruism, but like it is actually one of our values. But it's like we don't want to have like just emphasize just altruism in like, because this is sort of the old paradigm of donating. It's just altruistic. It's like just give and expect nothing back, and then like hopefully there'll be a couple of good altruistic people that will like keep public goods going for everybody. And you're like, wait, no. Let's make a better system that's more sustainable. So I think it's a useful word. But that's like a little bit of kind of background and context. I'm not exactly sure who wrote that.
Okay, I might take this out of the avoid section then, because I don't want to confuse people to avoid the word. I'll just move it up here for now, and I can like try to reorganize the stock a little bit better. But okay, so it's really just incentivizing that we want to kind of use very carefully if we use it and minimize using it. All right. Okay, I'm going to move past this for the sake of time, but please feel free to add more things in here. It's something we can talk about again, but I think, and this is something that I can add into the Notion eventually. But I thought first it would be good to make sure there's no confusion around this. So, all right. And then we have another topic on the agenda around, just also content writing and due diligence of content before pieces go into the review process. Let me see.
Oh, yeah. And I can totally speak to that because I like a lot of this came from me. So somebody wrote in one of my feedbacks for my buddy call that like if I review everything and then people get lazy because they're like, oh, Lauren's going to check it and make sure that that it's correct. And actually, and I thought this was good feedback because I don't want to keep reviewing everybody's stuff and I don't want to have to be the person to check if it's correct. So I just wanted to emphasize like the idea that like if you're writing content, like if you're writing something about development, something like a product, go talk to that product manager. Go talk to the person who's running that product and make sure that what you're saying is actually accurate information before it goes to the review process. So it's like the content creator is the person who's responsible for making sure that the content is accurate and going directly to the source to get the correct information. So, because like what I find is like, oh, I kind of thought it was this, and then somebody writes something in there, and then I go in and I'm like, it's actually not this. Like, make sure you go talk to this person. This is the person who knows. And what I often end up doing when I'm reviewing things is I will review the thing, I'll rewrite it, and I'll double check with the product lead, and I'll be like, hey, Mitch, is this right? is this right about Give-Fi? And then, but that's what the person writing it should do, you know? So I think that I want to move away from having to review things before they go out. Like, I don't want to have to be a last stop anymore. And so I would love if everybody just kind of like took the onus on themselves to like make sure that everything is like right to the best of their ability and like double checking, like even just like little things. Like just little things. Like I'll look at something and it'll be like we've released 2 episodes of GM, and I'm like, it's 3 episodes, you know, which you could check on the Twitter, or you could just check by like going on the podcast or something. And that's something everyone can do, and I don't want to keep doing it. So you guys are all awesome, and please make sure that what you're writing is right.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, like I was also thinking about this a lot, and we have this review process in place, and what it's really in place for is checking like typos and formatting and some details about just like copywriting errors, but it's supposed to be a lot less about checking the accuracy of the content itself, because that should be done in the content writing process. Again, with as Lauren was saying, like going to the different sources or experts on that topic, and like basically having them check that in advance before it's submitted for the final review, which is really just checking those little details to ensure that there's no typos. I think that's kind of like a good way to think about it. And then, of course, like if you don't know exactly like who to go to check a certain topic, like you can always ask. But that's kind of the way I'm positioning it in my brain now, for clarity.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And I think one other thing is like if you're completely not sure of who to ask, even you could leave a comment in whatever doc you're producing and just be like, I wasn't sure who to ask on this, like, and tag somebody who you think would know. Or you could DM me and ask me who it might be, and like, you know, feel free to also just like ask who to ask and use everybody as a resource.
Does anyone have anything to add to or like feedback on this topic? Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask other people besides Lauren for help.
Yeah, that was actually another thing I wanted to ask is regarding like reviewing. I do see often a lot of things being submitted for review with just myself and Lauren tagged. It's really quite often. And I think also that's a good thing to keep in mind is like we have other, like Suga, you're a great reviewer, you know, and then depending, I guess, on the type of content, like I think Ahmad, you're great at reviewing, and Ashley, and like we have a lot of really great reviewers on the team. And I think it helps a lot to spread out the tags for review. And then also I do like the format of like commenting within the actual piece and then tagging specific people or pieces of, you know, whatever is like maybe relevant to if they're like the source for that information. So that's another really great way to do it. Because I'm actually feeling a bit overwhelmed with review tags as well. I feel like I'm tagged on so many things for review, and it's not actually within my capacity to get to all of them. And then often when I do like get to things, I see that the only other person tagged there is Lauren. So, and then, yeah, Lauren was expressing that like, it's just too much. So yeah, we can do it better, I think.
Yeah, I would love to
totally. Yeah, tag me. That's all I wanted to say.
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say tag Suga by default. Like Suga's a great reviewer and she likes doing it. And like, I think she would be a great person, like to be that kind of like last review before content goes out. It's like Suga can check it. But anyway, so I think tag Suga for sure. And I don't mind being tagged. Like you can also tag me on everything. I'll see the issues. And like, if I'm like, oh, this is really important, I want to get in there. So I may or may not do it, but like, yeah, feel free to tag me willy nilly, but you know, I just may or may not do it.
Is it possible to create some kind of group or team as a tag? You know, like we do in Discord where we have comms tag. Can you do something like that in GitHub?
I have no idea. Does anybody else know?
I don't think so, though.
Okay. Good idea, though. Yeah, I think, and I also, sorry, go ahead.
For Almond to unmute. Yeah, you can tag a team to do it. My thought is that, like, if you tag multiple people, then maybe it's like that problem where it never gets done. They're like, who's doing this? One of those 6 people might do it.
Although
and it also might get annoying to be tagged all the time for all the documents.
It's a valid point, but on the other hand, I haven't actually seen that play out. Usually I see people then jump, like the more people are tagged, the quicker it gets reviewed from my perspective.
And like the system is like, if you're reviewing it and then you reviewed it, leave a comment. So it's like, if somebody got to that issue, they already saw that 2 people went through it and they're like, those people did an adequate job for sure. They know they can ignore it at that point.
Well, yeah, I think it's possible in GitHub. You can tag a team. I'll have to double check, but I think you can.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for your input, and that way we can avoid mistakes in the future, or like also having the burden fall on Lauren to check facts, right, or accuracy of information. So let's just keep that in mind when writing content, especially technical content and things like this. I think there's a lot of other people to go to in the writing process, and then when it's submitted for review, it's just checking like typos and errors is like the ideal. So, cool. Then I will continue on to the next topic, which is also like really exciting and fun. ETH, a landing page for ETH Denver. I referenced this, I think, in our last call around ETH Denver, and seemed like there was good feedback on that idea. I wanted to bring it up in this call to see what people think. We've got the conference coming up in 4 weeks, and I think I was talking to Monique about this, that like, you know, when we're on site and we have the booth and we have people interacting with us and we want to direct them to somewhere, it would be very smart to have a landing page, because then we can actually track the volume coming through from the activity coming through from our presence at the event. And of course, we can put whatever we want on there. So I wanted to open that up for discussion. I think it'd be a really cool idea personally to set this up.
I'm worried about who's going to design it, to be honest. That's our biggest blocker. You know, right now we need POAPs. Thank God the swag is finished. We need to print our physical banners. They have not been designed yet. And so I just don't want us to, or you to, put a lot of effort into it and then not be able to finish it or get a good design in time. Because we need those banners ASAP so that we can get them printed. Physical banners. And currently there's nobody working on it.
One thing is, if you just want to have like a short link, maybe that would solve it, because then we could track if anyone went on that link, and it just goes to the homepage or something. I mean, that would like solve the problem of knowing if they came from the conference.
And on the other side, if you want to have some specific call to actions, maybe a link tree. This was actually one topic that I had on the agenda earlier. I think there is a team that we met at DEF CON that is called Linktree, but so basically it sounds the same, but it's written differently. And they are focused on Web3 projects. And they have reached out to us, like, to say, hey, we want to get onboarded on this. And it has kind of like information, speak of Web3 projects like token, value, market cap, and so forth. And it's nice. It's very similar to LinkedIn. I don't know if this be also something that could be good for having call to actions for conferences.
So using the landing page for this.
I would say your best bet, Corey. Let's see what Mo and Tossin say. I think for like our physical banners, that's more of a Rodri job. But see if Mo basically, I think, will be able to have time to realistically do it in 2 weeks, assuming it'll take 10 days to develop and test.
We have this, I don't know the link right now, but we have this landing page. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong. We have the landing page for the Giveth, for the Gitcoin round. I actually don't know how to get to it right now without the link. But I don't know how much time that took to develop.
It was a banner or was it a landing page? Oh, Ahmad's got it. Look at that.
Yeah. But a landing page doesn't need to be complicated. It's just a co-branded Giveth at ETH Denver. Extremely simple. I mean, I don't know. Rodri's like kicked out banners to us within hours of, you know, like when we do like a Medium post or something. But it's basically like this co-branded like welcome thing that might direct people to where we need them to go to, I'm making this up, to claim the POAP, to donate to, you know, those ETH Denver projects. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be a big page either. But it's just a place for people to land literally after they've interacted with us in person. And then we have certain CTAs on there, as Kotabe said. So I don't know how long this took to develop, but for me, it kind of came out of nowhere. I think it's great. That's also a question I wanted to ask.
Oh, this is amazing. Well, I think it adds a lot of value. Just make sure that the people on the other end can pull it off in time.
Lauren, did you do the design for that webpage?
For which webpage? Oh, for this?
This.
No, Mo did it.
How long did it take him?
Oh, a couple of hours.
And you just worked with him for a couple of hours on it?
Kind of. I mean, I kind of just talked to him about it, and then he like put it together. It was actually his idea, and then he just like, yeah, it didn't take him long at all. It took him like an hour or 2 hours or something like that. And he sent it to me. I'm like, this is perfect, and I changed the copy, and we were done.
And it goes to, yeah, obviously our grant. And yeah, it's just a couple of links here, right? So it doesn't sound like it's a big, also Monique has like brought this up to me multiple times. Landing pages. Do you guys want a landing page? Does comms want a landing page? And I'm thinking we have 4 weeks, which is a nice timeline, and we don't have to make it complicated. What I actually was curious about is like, okay, given that, let's say this takes just a few hours and development has the bandwidth and it's no problem, like what would we want to put on here? Would be the next question. If there's any ideas like somebody would want to throw out now, otherwise, of course, we can take some time to think about it, but.
I mean, it seems obvious we want to show projects that we want people to donate to.
This is specifically for ETH Denver participants, right?
This is for ETH Denver.
So I guess wouldn't we want to use it to highlight like all of Giveth's involvement in ETH Denver and maybe like some of the stuff that Giveth like features that's happening at ETH Denver, maybe like things that are relevant to ETH Denver?
Yeah, so that seems like we would want to have the projects that are being donated to. If there's any channels that people are like responding to saying, hey, I did this thing, can I get my POAP? Like maybe you want to show them where that.
Yeah, maybe the link to like the mentorship channel or something if we have an active mentorship channel where people are answering questions. I know that I was talking with Monique about having a filter, so they're thinking to make a filter for all the Denver-based projects on the projects page. So they could just choose like Denver projects. So that might be something that you could link to from this page.
Yeah, what's the main goal, right? We give people a link and we're like, click this link and donate, right? And I mean, I would think the main CTA would be check out these very relevant projects, hence like the filtered Denver projects. You can donate right here, right now. Here's the link. And then there could be there could be a couple things like much below that. And here are details of like other things we're doing this week and support channel.
If we do the pizza DAO thing, a thought is like if we figure out when our peeps are giving talks, we could add that stuff in there. Like TLDR, what is Giveth doing at ETH Denver? So I think it's hard to pin it down to one thing.
Yeah, I really like having the talk times on there. Like just one easy reference place for people to find out about what Giveth is up to at ETH Denver.
Yeah, that's cool. With the main thing being maybe like the projects. It could also be like, we're looking at like it could be like this banner that shows like the most donated to ETH Denver projects, and it's clickable. When you click on that, it'll take you to the full filtered list. And then below that, we highlight all the other things that we're involved with and the talk times and stuff like that. For example, that wouldn't be, I think, a complicated thing to design at all. It's like a window to the filtered projects.
Yeah, that's great. And you obviously want to explain your contest rules, or at least have somewhere to link to it.
Like the impact
that's
quest.
The other thing that I'm working with the devs too for the impact quest is we're just going to have like a page that explains the rules and maybe a QR code that we could put up like posters around the convention so that people could just like go straight to the impact quest rules, so that you could easily link to that from here too.
It needs its own page, right? It couldn't be integrated into one page.
I think it'll be too much.
Okay.
Everything else will get lost. That's not that.
Okay, cool. Well, this is a good initial, I think, brainstorm on some stuff. Don't want to like make this a crazy inundate, like too full of things, but linking out to things. Yeah, like an all-in-one ETH Denver page might be really cool. And then it's also maybe a thought of like, even if that could be used for non-ETH Denver participants, like kind of using it in social media promotions, I guess. And then we can link to that to show like everything that we're doing at ETH Denver right now. Maybe. All right. Okay, cool. Anything else to add? Otherwise, I'll continue through the agenda. All right. Someone added here just now, one last push for Gitcoin via old grant email list.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else saw this in the Twitter chat, but ReFiDAO said that you can still send emails to your old grant recipients on the old Gitcoin dApp. So, is it worth it making one last email push? I think it could just be 3 lines, but
I can do that in a half an hour or so.
yeah, I think you have to be the owner of the grant, though.
Well, I've normally been able to. I mean, I did it in past rounds, but
really?
I guess I'm not.
Amazing.
I'm not the owner, but.
Well, if you can do it if you were able to do that in past rounds, I mean, my first question is it worth it? I think there's how many hours left?
7.
What time? 7 hours? Oh, okay. 7 hours left. Might be
It's
worth
no
it.
big deal. I'll just do it. Whatever. It's cool. It's good.
Okay, cool.
It's worth it.
Worth
Okay.
it.
Short and sweet. We sent out a reminder email yesterday to our email list, but this is different, right? So
Yeah, different email list. We have 7,500 people on this email list. And I might have just accidentally sent one out. That's a typo, basically.
it's like a test.
Yeah, so check if you got an email that just says GM just, all one word, because that might have been a mistake.
Okay. Well, thanks, Suga, for jumping on that. That's a good idea.
No problem.
Definitely want to make sure we talk about the project owner survey because that's been pending for a while. It's ready to go. We just need to make sure. We wanted to wait until after the grants round closed to send that out. It's really relevant also to the design of our homepage. Claire, do you want to add something to this?
Yeah, I think maybe we need to set a date for it to go out. I've started preparing an email to go out, but Suga, I probably will run that past you as you have some time and you write better copy than me, for sure. Also, I was wondering if we could use the upcoming in-person events, the conferences, East Denver and Flea, to talk to projects. I don't know if that's going to be an opportunity, but maybe encourage them to complete surveys there. Was one of the other ideas I had, plus the usual email, Twitter, social media channels.
So yeah, this survey is really valuable. It's feedback we also need for other things in development, like the homepage and stuff. So, and it's a good time now, I think, to prepare to put it out. I would say for next week, what does everybody think about a date? Because we have been, of course, emailing a lot about the grants round. It ends today. I think it's good to maybe let email chill for a week. But this would, I would assume, go out to a specific email list of project owners on Giveth, right? So it's not exactly just everybody. Is that right?
Yeah, specifically to projects. But there's also an opportunity here to reach out to projects that we don't have on the platform. I know there's quite a few amongst us that have connections with the sort of more traditional project world. We're trying to bridge that as well, aren't we? So it's interesting to gather their feedback too.
Okay, so from a comms perspective, that sounds like it would be a combination of, preparing, I would say a couple emails, like preparing an email and also a follow-up email or two. This could be sent out in a cadence over like several weeks, of course. But an initial email, let's say like 2 emails for now, unless someone else thinks it should be more, but 2 emails, one to send out survey, one to remind, And that's for our existing projects. And then for new projects, it sounds like that would be also, Twitter for new and existing. And then, that could also be done via potentially like the Communitas team. If you have other channels that you would want to promote the survey through or different avenues.
Yeah, I'd agree. And perhaps it's more sort of personal outreach as well, whoever people are connected with.
Does anyone have a strong opinion on the date for us to put this out? Especially people who have been monitoring emails right now and are aware, I think, of like what's, the volume that we've been sending out.
Yeah, I would probably send it next week, not before then. Yeah, so maybe like the first week of February.
Is there a particular day that's good to send out surveys? I don't know. Mondays are really busy for people, so maybe like Tuesday. Should we target that? We just need to pick a date.
Yeah, I've had to pick a day. I'd probably say maybe on like the 7th, Tuesday.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. Tuesday the 7th. And really what just needs to be prepped there is an email. Is there anything else? Do we need a graphic? Is it going to populate a graphic anyway? What do we need to prepare anything else for that?
I think we should look at also like what are the incentives that we used for the donor survey and maybe use some of those or figure out what worked for that, because we did get a lot of responses for that survey. So if we can basically do something similar.
Yeah, I believe the incentives are mostly worked out at this point, right? Referencing the governance call yesterday.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was any objections to it. Maybe you weren't in there, Ahmad, but we were going to give a raffle of like a butt ton of give power to respondents rather than nice tokens.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sounds good.
And the game changer was having a Jake behind people. So Jake did a lot of follow-up his conversions. So
let's have have him focus on it a bit.
I didn't quite catch that. Sorry, Kotabe, I couldn't understand. You said Jake? You talking about outreach?
Jake was following up with this topic every week and saying to people on the Giveth community and other donors, he was following up everywhere. And I think that was part of why it was so successful.
Okay.
Yeah, 100% follow-up is massive. So, it's what I do with every type of outreach, because the first message will probably get lost or skipped. Majority of it will get lost or skipped. So highly, highly recommend making some type of Excel sheet or using. We do have a CRM called HubSpot, and making sure to put notes to do bi-weekly check-ins or touch bases, walk the fine line of annoying versus just being organized. But yeah, that's how I got so many donors to take the survey.
Yeah, and I would also add, this is especially relevant for major projects that we really want feedback from, right? Like, I would almost say like it's both ends, projects that are getting a lot of donations and projects maybe that are newer. It's like all the different aspects, making sure that we have good responses from all the different sides.
For my Gitcoin outreach, I've touched everybody on my contact list that I put in the Excel 2 or 3 times now over the 2 weeks, and a majority of the responses came after the second or the third touch.
Okay. Cool. Claire, is that enough information for you? Is it okay to assume you're like spearheading this, but of course with our support?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, great. I'm sorry we're at the top of the hour and we did not make it to SEO this week. Ahmad, is there something, I mean, we can also, we can talk about this after the call if that helps, or is there something really urgent for this week just to be aware of in 30 seconds?
Yeah, in 30 seconds, there's a page that I made here. And I mean, going back to the topic of making landing pages, I think that's something we should start doing more of. So yeah, there's a landing page that I made here as a draft to basically target a few of the keywords that I think we want to have. Yeah, so if you have some time, please look through it.
Okay, in this issue, gotcha. Sorry, I didn't realize in the issue. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Please take a look at this. Lots of input on the SEO topic would be great. Gonna put that at the top of the agenda for next week so we can talk about that with a little bit more time. All right. Thank you, everyone. Sorry we ran over a little bit. I appreciate your time today and have a great week. Thanks so much. And it's last day of Gitcoin Grant. Let's do it.
Corey.
Thank you.
Woohoo!
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.